Welcome back to Life in the Wind. So normally we like to do episodes based on projects, but this week we are kind of going to do a little recap on all the projects we've been working on, and mainly focusing on 3 different projects right now. So we are going to be putting up our scrum board, explaining what that is, doing some varnish work for prepping for winter, and also we are fixing some of our ceiling that has had some leak damage. So we'll get more into that, but yeah, let's go. The reason why we're not finishing up the radio cabinet this episode is because due to COVID, we have had a few shipping delays and we had to find out some more projects to do. But also along the same lines of the shipping delays, we were in the radio cabinet area where all of our equipment is going to go, and we noticed that the ceiling was damaged, and it looked like it was water damage. So we're going to replace the ceiling, but we noticed that back in the summer that the knee here, up here on the wall, seemed a little wet. So we investigated and noticed that the nut on the outside was not attached to the bolt that was in here, so it kept letting water in, which created moisture in there, and then eventually it started leaking down to where the ceiling was. So we thought that was the problem. We went up, we sealed the hole with some butyl, not a permanent solution, and then we let it sit like that for a while, and after a couple heavy rains have not noticed any more leaking, so we're pretty sure that was the main cause of that leak. So we're gonna fix the ceiling, and then next summer when it gets warm again, then we're gonna do a little bit of knee repair. So this was the first time we were on the boat during a really heavy rainstorm. We had noticed prior that this area up here was a little bit moist, so we thought it was from a prior leak, but as you can tell, it's gotten way worse. So since we were on the boat during a heavy rainstorm, we decided to track down all the leaks on the boat. How much fun! What we doing, hon?
Well, I'm gonna put the final coat on here. Right now it has 3 coats, which is actually what they recommend, but they said for the 4th coat, if you want it to be smoother. And I think for the most part it's fine, but there's these little wrinkles where I put one of the layers I put too thick, so it kind of wrinkled up on it. I'm hoping to fix that. Gotcha. So basically what you do is you take the little scuffer pad here, and you scuff the whole surface up, and then you wipe it down with this 216 thinner.
Which stinks really bad.
Well, it's a solvent, so yeah, it's going to solve all of your nose problems.
Or not.
Well, you won't be able to smell anymore, so it's going to solve all of your... Anyways.
Oh my god. Okay,
right.
Anyways.
So you do that, and then you put a thin coat across it, and it self-levels, and it takes out the rest of the ripples. Hopefully, that's the plan. So
that's the plan, man.
I guess I should mention it's been more than 24 hours, which is what they recommend. It does look like there's a couple spots that got kind of messed up here. I think this final coat will fix that, and if not, we'll do another one. So. So in hindsight, it would have been better to do it on a day that wasn't quite so windy.
Why is that?
Well, I mean, it's got a couple dust, particles in it, but
Well, I think it looks pretty.
I think that if we put too thick of a coat on it, it's going to do what it did before, which is a problem. So I think we're going to stop fiddling with it and see what it looks like when it dries. Ultimately, this is probably always going to end up being under a cover anyways.
Yeah.
So it's a good piece to start with, I guess.
I think
I've never
that's a good
used
idea.
this stuff before, the cetyl marine teak stuff. It's not really a teak oil. It's basically a varnish. Let's see.
But is it going to stay shiny or is it not?
Well, it's supposed to be satin. It says, let's see. It says a durable, translucent, satin protective wood finish.
So
Sounds like a marketing
not
term.
too shiny, but kind of shiny?
It probably will be not as shiny, somewhere between this and the other wood. Because the rest
So
of it,
like this.
yeah, because this was done with the same stuff I'm using now. The reason I'm doing that is because the previous owner, he said he did the whole boat with all that. Did the entire boat with this cetyl marine teak varnish. So
I think it looks pretty
I think this
snazzy.
stuff doesn't look as shiny because it's like 2 years old now, and it's supposed to be refreshed like once a year, once every other year. So it needs it now.
Okay.
Well, to do our scrum board, which we are putting right here, we have to kind of tidy up this area. It's a hot freaking mess right now. So I think we might just speed that up a bit, and then it'll be done. Let's go.
Vicky wanted me to tell you about the scrum board. Basically, it's a very simple system that is much older than I am. Basically, we got 3 columns. We have to do, doing, and done. And the idea is you have all these things, all the projects. You want them to be moved over to done eventually. So the idea is to try to keep them straight, because you can't usually work on the same project every day until it's finished. Usually you kind of have to spread your time out depending on resources, shipping, which we're very familiar with now. So we have a lot of things on here. I'm not going to read through all of them, but the one thing is the varnish. We just finished doing the varnish for the winter, the prep. So the idea is that you're supposed to do the varnish every year, every other year, and you kind of touch it up as you go. And if you wait too long, then you have to sand down to bare wood, do the entire prep again, and add a minimum of 3 coats for protection and all that stuff. So we want to avoid that in the future, but unfortunately there was a lot of spots that we had to fix because they've been neglected for the last 2-3 years, and the varnish was peeling off and there was bare wood and it was not so great. So that's all done now. So you basically take it, move it to the done column, and move on to the next thing. So the scrum board is actually a thing that I use on a daily basis at work, doing software development. We use it to track massive scale projects. The idea in there is every little card is another piece of the bigger project. And so in that regard, this is a very similar system. Works very well for what we're doing here, because the overall project is we want to launch the boat, and then these are all of the things. A lot of them aren't totally required to be able to launch the boat, but a lot of them are. So the idea is we move them over one at a time as we go. So it works out really well.
That's about all the time we have for on this episode. Thanks for joining us for our brief update on what we are working on. Our lovely scrum board is finished and in process of working on doing the ceilings and also our varnish maintenance. So we hope to see you back soon. Thanks for watching, liking, commenting down below, and subscribing. Bye!
Look at your little nose. Look at your little nose. Okay, go. Be happy. Think tall thoughts.
Tall.
Not too tall. You're my friend. Okay, go. There's a train over yonder way. Yonder way.